The following is a conversation with Casey Robuck. Casey is the founder of Robuck Fitness, a small group and virtual gym. Casey's been training other people for 10 years after leaving her former profession as an elementary school teacher. She is the mom of 3 girls. Casey was there at the beginning of my fitness transformation. She is an amazing motivator, and during this conversation, she drops some real gems about nutrition, fitness, and just getting yourself moving and improving your life. I hope you enjoy. Hi, Casey.
Hi, Chris.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We have 10 subscribers on YouTube, so get ready for your business to just
go booming,
blow up.
Thank you.
You were one of my first instructors. I don't tell this story often, but I had, I'm not going to tell that story.
Yes, you are. Tell the story.
Okay, I'm telling the story. I was volunteering at my daughter's school, and I had a big, bulky sweater on. It was February of 2019, and my hair was longer, and I was walking through the hallway alone, and a teacher came out and said, "Excuse me," and I turned around and said, "Oh, hey, Alex," and she said, "I didn't know if that was a man in school or a husky woman." And so I was mistaken for a woman, which, you know, whatever, ego. So I stopped at the gym where you were working at the time, and I signed up. And I have been working out 6 days a week ever since.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I never knew that story.
You're probably the, 5th person I've told. I don't tell it often. After that, a friend's dad had a massive heart attack, and just people started getting sick around me. And so it started out ego, and then now it's like, I want to work out because I want to be 80, and I want to be able to move when I'm 80.
And feel good.
Yes. So you were, there were 3 instructors at that gym, and you were just such a motivating force, and brought positive reinforcement, and even some like ego. You would sort of poke us sometimes, us guys. You would come and say, "You can lift heavier than that." And I just love your energy, your motivation, and wanted to introduce you to the channel.
Thank you.
And hear about, how did you get started?
So my degree, I don't even know if you know this, is in early childhood education. So I was a 1st and 4th grade teacher, and I resigned from that, retired, I'll say. And I retired to try to start a family. And in the midst of that, I ran into fertility issues, and so I started to really try to figure out how to lock in my health. And like you said, realizing it was more of just an ego thing. How can I eat clean? How can I move my body? What do I need to do? And so I actually, 10 years ago, started a brick and mortar gym in Conyers, Georgia.
Nice.
And it was called Be the Change Fitness. And then once I moved up here, I stepped away from that and had my 3rd daughter, who I got a job at Crux while I was pregnant with her. Mm-hmm. And I was there the whole time. So that's how I met you. And since I've been at Crux, I've taught at a few different gyms. And then once the pandemic hit, I knew that people had a real want for fitness. I knew we needed fitness because we were at home, and a lot of people weren't able to go to the gym, and people needed to move their bodies. And so I started doing free workouts through my page.
Awesome.
And then it just took off. And now we have a lot of members. We have a Zoom channel, and I named it Robuck Fitness because I just liked it. Casey Robuck, Robuck Fitness. Perfect. And been doing it ever since.
Nice. I know I did it for a while, and at that time I think there were just a few, 5 or 6 people logging on at a time. You said you have a lot of members now?
I wouldn't say a lot. For me, right now we are about 62 members that we have online.
Great.
So I'm proud of that. I want to keep growing our business. As far as people coming online, because every day I send an email to your inbox as your member, and you have the option to do it on your own, or you can come onto Facebook and we can work out together. So on those classes, usually I have anywhere from 5 to 10 people that go on live. A lot of people like to replay it later on in the day. But yeah, we've grown a little bit.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's 10x since the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And we're here in your gym. It looks very similar to my gym, except it's like 20 times bigger.
Yeah.
Your gym is bigger because I work out in basically our pantry in the basement. We have a little bunker with some food storage, and it's like basically 4x4 of these little square mats.
Yeah.
Your style is like weights with cardio, a lot of body weight stuff, and you're getting the muscle workout with elevated heart rate, and so it's like, I want to say full body every day.
It is.
I'm sure you have different things that you're focusing on, and that's similar to the way the gym where we met was, and so I think now I'm doing more of what I just learned this the other day, called the bro split. So like chest, buys, back, tries, and then legs, and then I do that twice a week, and it's, bro split. It's about muscle growth. Yeah. I don't think it's the best for strength or for overall conditioning. I think what you're doing is really good for overall conditioning and overall strength. A lot of the multi-joint moves. So, like, can you talk about the difference in those?
So my husband does what you do, and then he runs as well. And that's great, especially for, like you said, getting strong, for getting stronger and building muscle. What I love about HIIT training is that you have the option to make it as hard or as easy as you want, and you can kind of meet multiple goals by doing HIIT training. So while we are getting our heart rate up, we're going usually faster pace than obviously if you're just lifting heavy. You can always go heavier with my weight. So people that are really wanting to lose fat and build muscle, I always tell them to slow it down, bump your weights up. For people that, are scared of bulking up, I tell them just keep a weight that is lighter and go higher reps. If I have people with injuries and things like that, it's really nice for me to be able to accommodate that in the HIIT training, because we can always do lower intensity things. And with me, there's just a lot of flexibility, and the way that we break it up, every day is full body, but like Mondays we do isolation. So we do like our workouts broken into 4 different parts, and we have focus, upper body focus, lower body, core, then cardio. So we kind of still break it up, even though it's not like only upper body, we're still kind of targeting upper body for a session of the workout and so on. Tuesdays, we always do Tabata, so that's 20 seconds on, resting for 10, 8 rounds. That's strength and cardio based. Wednesdays, always body weight, because I always want to have an option to use the bands and just have more of an off day from the weights. And then Thursday we do stretching, but we also have a strength, usually it's a more strength-based workout, and then Friday is always full body, pretty high intensity, like pretty intense workout. So I think that for what a lot of people are looking for, high intensity is a great option, because it's a combination of, like you said, the weights and the cardio. But it also gives a lot of flexibility if you need some lower intensity things, if you have people with injuries and things like that, it kind of breaks it up. And because we're virtual, it's hard for me to have an upper body day, a lower body day, not knowing what everyone's schedule is. So we just kind of keep it full body every day. Yeah.
And you actually set up your phone or a camera and you have live workouts. Is that 5 days a week?
It is 5 days a week, but sometimes the stretching or the yoga I will replay. So I don't always do that live.
Okay.
But every other day is live.
And you keep a library of workouts that people can access.
Yeah, on our page.
Yeah. I think that's great for busy professionals or busy moms, dads, just, we all have so much going on. And if you can just take, 30 minutes to an hour and do that and just turn it on, whether you're at that time, you guys go early in the morning, right?
Yeah.
5. If you can just turn that on and get the camaraderie of the group. Can you see your students on the iPad or whatever
So on Fridays, we always Zoom.
Okay.
So on Fridays, I can see everyone that logs on.
Mm.
Right now, we are using Facebook, so it's just like I can see who's on and their name will pop up and we'll say good morning, you know, how are you, that kind of thing. But Fridays are my favorite day because we Zoom and everybody just kind of lives for that day. The funny thing is, you know, I'm very much an extrovert. As you know, I just love relationships and people and being with them. And so when the pandemic hit, I was like feeling super lonely and honestly a little bit depressed, not having people that I was like working out with. So the great thing about Zoom and even Robuck Fitness is it truly is a community. We do like monthly challenges and we do accountability partners for new people so that when you come in, it really feels like a community for you. So that's been one thing to really, you know, help. And obviously, as you said, everyone's time is different. You know, I'm that kind of person that I really like to get at least 45 minutes in for me to feel my best and just like really get a good sweat going on. But I have so many moms and dads that don't have time for that. And so the way I set up the workouts, most days we do a starter. And then most days we have a finisher, or I call it extra credit. So if you want a longer workout, you can stay on and do the finisher. Or if you're replaying, you can always skip the starter. And then we have like our bulk of the workout. But like I tell everyone, even if you set your timer for 25 minutes and hit play, you do what you can in the 25 minutes. Or if you have 30 minutes, you hit play and you do what you can for 30 minutes. And that's what's so great about it is it's super flexible.
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of people get into a fitness program or get into a nutrition program and think this is it, this is the way, everybody needs to do this. But I don't think that's right. I think you find something that worked for you, whatever can get your heart rate up, get your body moving, and if it's 25 minutes of Robuck Fitness, that's great. If it's putting some walking shoes on and going out for a walk, that's great too. You mentioned bands. I think bands are so underrated.
So underrated.
I've started taking them on the road with me when I travel for work, and it adds. Sometimes I use them for like 30% of my workout, and it's huge.
Killer.
They're awesome.
They're killer. That's why last week we used the bands, and our whole group was like messaging me, why is my butt so sore? And I'm like, it's from the bands. You know, you look at it and you think, oh, it's a flimsy mini band. It's tiny little, you know, it literally feels so flimsy, but you put it on and you do some squats or whatever, and it's like, holy cow, it absolutely kills you. Hop into YouTube, you know, mini band exercises, pick 5 of them, do them for 30 seconds each, and it's like, mind blown.
Yeah.
And it's a tiny little bag that you can throw into your suitcase or whatever.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Even for the bro split, like for bicep curls or tricep extensions, I'll throw it up over a pull-up bar and do tricep extensions, or put it under my feet and do lateral raises. And it starts to burn after, you know, I have 3. I have 25, maybe a 15, a 25, and a 50. And the 50s, I can't even get them up, but I still do it and try to get some reps in. You know, I think one really great thing about your program is how welcoming everybody is, how positive you are, and it's such a challenge just to get people into the gym. And people are intimidated. I see it. I go to a yoga studio most days, and people come in, they're new, and you know, everybody's sweating, and there's a wall full of mirrors, and people are looking at themselves, and you know, they don't like the way they look, or they're self-conscious. I always try to go around after the class and fist bump everybody, and that's something that I think we did when we first met, and just say, hey, great job, and just try to make people feel welcome. I think that's one really great thing about what you're doing is people don't have to go to the gym. They can just go in their, with the kids running around or the dogs around, they just start the video and do what Casey's doing.
Exactly, and that's what I tell everyone. I'm like, no one can see you. Sometimes we do these things called quick feet, and literally, like, it doesn't matter how skinny you are or how much muscle you have, you're gonna jiggle. And I'm like, everyone feel the jiggle. And I'm like, but no one can see you, but everyone can see me, you know? So it's just like, it's really nice that no one can see you. And even on Zoom, I'm like, hey, get on, people will say my house is messy. I'm like, turn your camera off, but at least you know we're all here with you. And you know, that's the great thing, is you can have a community and be encouraged, but you don't actually have to like be there, because it does take time, you know, for you to get comfortable and back into shape. But as you know, the hardest part is going in and signing up and trying a free week or just showing up for yourself. But once you start to do it, it's so worth it, and you almost immediately start to feel better.
Yeah.
So worth it.
You know, a big part of the feeling, it's not, yeah, you can get kind of a high from working out and get the runner's high, but a huge part of it is nutrition. I'm sure that you work with your clients on nutrition. Do you have like a formal meal plan, or just if somebody says, hey, can you help me, do you sort of do it on a one-on-one basis?
I will try to do a one-on-one with all my clients. If they ever have a question about nutrition, I always try to first have them start out by logging their food, either on a piece of paper or in my Fitness Pal or the First Form app, because it is so eye-opening, especially for women, to look and see what they've eaten and realize that they had 800 calories and 80 grams of protein throughout the day. So the first thing I really try to do to encourage people to make sure they're ready and to give me an idea so I can work with you better is to track your food, because it's very eye-opening.
And they share that with you on the app?
They do. So they I can look at my Fitness Pal, or like I do the First Form app, I can see it there. Some people write it on paper, and I'm okay with that too. It's more, I just want people to be aware, and then it gives me a better idea, because everyone's needs are so different. I don't have a formal meal plan. My go-to for people and myself is a Whole30 lifestyle, which, have you heard of Whole? I'm sure you've heard of it.
I don't know what it is.
So Whole30 is basically eating whole food. So no processed foods, no dairy, no sugar. And the idea behind Whole30 is you start out by doing 30 days, completely eliminating all that. So you eat whole foods, fruits, vegetables. You try to get the cleanest, you know, free range or organic grass-fed meats that you can get.
Is it a selection of 30 foods?
No.
Okay.
It's just the 30s for 30 days.
Okay.
So you do it for 30 days. And the idea behind it is you cut all of that out for 30 days and you eat whole foods, so no condiments, no sugars. You can make your own though, which seems completely overwhelming. Well, you can buy this sugar-free. Okay. Nowadays, they have the Primal Kitchen, other Whole30 approved ketchups, mustards, all that stuff. But after the 30 days of completely eliminating all that, you're supposed to slowly reintroduce things. So you slowly add back in dairy, start with cheese, see how you feel. A lot of people notice, like, holy cow, I'm super bloated and I feel like crap, and then they realize they have a dairy intolerance. Okay. Or they add, you know, that in and they feel good, and then they decide I'm going to add milk back in, or I'm going to add bread back in. And once you do it slowly, and it makes you become much more aware of what your body is intolerant of. And I love that, because it's realistic to me. It's something that everyone can do. So I live like a 80-20 Whole30 lifestyle, you know, where I stick to it 80% of the time. 20% of the time, you know, I'll go off track when I travel, if I have a few drinks, whatever, and I'm not going to stress it. But it's a practical way to live at your lifestyle and eat. And it's not nearly as stressful as some of the radical diets out there. So,
you know, there's a guy at the farmer's market who, you've probably seen him. He's lost almost 100 pounds, and he's a vendor there. And I went and asked him, "You lost some weight?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I asked him how he did it, and he said, fasting. He does one meal a day, and he said, "Oh, by the way, I'm on the carnivore diet." So I think that means nothing but meat, or almost nothing but meat. And I was like, that's funny, because I've lost 40 pounds and I did it as a vegetarian. Yeah. So, like, there's no one size fits all.
There's no right or wrong way. So I'm a vegetarian as well. So for some people, a carnivore diet may be great. For some people, fasting may be great. The thing for me about Whole30 is it's something that everyone can do, and it's not necessarily, it's not quite as extreme. So for some people, fasting is really hard. For a lot of women, it shows fasting is good for a short amount of time, but then it becomes, you know, something that can mess with your hormone and imbalance you and things like that. So I tell people there's no right or wrong answer, and there are so many things that can be beneficial for you and your weight loss journey. But I always tell everyone, whatever you do, you want to remember that this is something you're trying to do for life. Because as you know, it's been, what, 3 years for you?
Right.
And you've kept your weight off. And yes, you're a vegetarian, but you also love to go to the donut shop.
Yes.
You love it. It's all about balance, okay? So I feel like we have to remember that, and we have to remember that everything is a process. So you don't have to start off by saying, I'm going to fast and be on this diet. You don't have to do that. Even Whole30, you don't have to do that. I tell my clients, the best thing that you can do starting out on your nutrition journey is start your day with water.
Yes.
Okay? Always start your day with water. Don't start it with your coffee. Don't start it with your Diet Coke. Start it with water, okay? Make sure you're getting at least half of your body weight in water in ounces, okay? So if you weigh 140, make sure you're getting at least 70 ounces of water a day. And then I tell people to try to limit or eliminate processed foods and sugars. If you can do that, for most people, and then move your body, obviously. And again, you don't have to do a Robuck Fitness workout. You don't have to train for a triathlon. You can walk, like you said, for 20, 30 minutes a day. If you do those 3 things, you could see a huge difference. And give yourself a month of doing that, okay? And then maybe you add something else on. Maybe you know, completely cut out your sodas, or maybe you completely cut out processed foods, breads, you know, whatever. If you do that, little steps over time are what make you successful. Because as you know, you didn't start Crux and start this extreme diet, this extreme workout. You didn't do all of it at once, if I'm correct.
Big time.
Right? You had to like first say, holy cow, I gotta learn how to do these workouts. I gotta be able to sustain this. And then you add it on, and now like here you are, you know.
Big difference.
Doing it all.
I remember talking to Roshawn, one of the other instructors, and I said, man, I've started this workout and I feel great, and I've gained 5 pounds. And he said, well, you've got to track you've got to track your nutrition. What are you eating? And I said, nope, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to change my diet. I just want to work out, and I just got to work out harder. I knew better than him. Of course, he's the professional, and he knew exactly what he was talking about. And it probably took me, I think it took me another 6 months or a year to realize he was right. And I didn't track my food, but I switched and I started cut out all processed foods. There for a while, I cut out all breads, anything white sugar, white flour. I went really extreme, but I totally agree with you. Small steps along the way, and it's like self-experimentation. What works for me? I love milk and cheese, and I know some people it just tears them up. I do love donuts, but I know that like for longevity, sugar's really bad. Sugar's just like gasoline on a fire for cancer, which is in my family. So I should probably take that out. But a lot of time, most of the time, I have 1 donut. Sometimes it's even a half donut and a frittata, like an egg. So yeah, I think it's all balance.
It's all about balance, and I feel like and for some people, when they start out, they need to completely cut it. And that's why I do, for people that are really ready, I suggest Whole30, because it is one of those that you have to cut things, but it's not so much so that you feel completely deprived. And again, sugar isn't the best, but you work out really hard, you eat good most of the time. So if you have your donuts on Saturday, your 1 donut, you know, I think that is what makes you happy. And that's what I tell people. I enjoy my glass of wine. You know, I enjoy maybe going out and having cheese dip. I don't really eat dairy anymore either, but I enjoy those things. I just do everything in moderation. And like you said, if you just do it slowly, over time, you're gonna see such longer results. You know, so many people say to me, you're so motivated, how do you do it? And I'm like, no, motivation, just like you had that motivation.
Right.
You went to the gym, but that's not what you're doing now. You don't get up every day because you're motivated. You get up because you're disciplined, and it's a habit, and it's become a habit for you. And that's what it's about. You start with something, you know, you're motivated to lose weight, or you have a wedding you're in, or you want to compete in some sort of triathlon or whatever, you take that, but after that, it's about building habits. It's been a little over 11 years for me, 3 kids,
Nice.
A business, all of that, and I've just remained healthy this whole time. We have ebbs and flows, but it's all about consistency and building habits.
Yeah, ebbs and flows. I've definitely lost a bunch of weight and then gained some back. And right now, I'm trying to gain muscle, but I've been through many ups and downs where I put on unwanted weight, and then I took off too much weight, and just trying to figure out what works for me. I went vegan for a while, and I love cheese and vegan cheese. I have a friend who has a place where they apparently make wonderful vegan cheese. I haven't had any that I like yet.
It's not the same.
I added back in eggs, milk, and cheese.
Yeah.
So lacto-ovo vegetarian.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that similar to what you do?
Yes, I do feta cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And, every now and then I'll have ice cream, but I don't do any other dairy or
No
cheese
eggs.
every now and then. Oh, and I do eggs, absolutely. Because on Whole30, that's all I ate for my protein.
Okay.
Was literally eggs upon eggs upon eggs.
Oh, so a big thing for me as a vegetarian is getting enough protein. And I've heard, I don't know if this ratio is true, but
A pound per body weight.
yeah, I've heard that. I think
0.8,
that's too
close
much.
enough.
I think that's too much.
That's what I tell all my clients. That from everything I've learned and everything that I've read, it is 0.8 to a gram per body weight. And especially as a vegetarian or for women, it is very hard. And honestly, most days I'm under that. I'm sure you are too. I just tell people to try to get within 20 to 30 grams of that, because the reality is, if you focus, I tell people, I suggest people track their food, but I don't love tracking my food either. Yeah. I'm more about eating for how I feel. But if you can focus on your macro, like focus on the protein only, you will see a big change, but it's very hard. And you will most likely, especially as vegetarians and women, need to supplement. But egg whites, like in your smoothies, protein powder, post-workout, even before bed as a snack, like in a yogurt or something like that. You just have to find the things that you like,
right,
that have protein, and run with it. So for me, it's a lot of beans. Like I love chickpeas, I love black beans, I love eggs.
I love hummus.
So I do all that.
Yeah.
So we use chickpeas we make tacos, use it as our meat. We make chickpea brownies, we use it for so many things. So you just have to find the things that are full of protein that you can put into your diet, and then, focusing on that. But I do tell people to try to get within 20 to 30 grams of their body weight with protein.
Wow. I think I'm typically, so I weigh about 160 right now, and I typically get 80 to 120 grams. And that's my only focus. The overall calories, I try to stay within my range of overall calories. And the ratio I've heard is 0.8 to 1.2 per kilogram, which for me is between 80 and 120 grams of protein, which I guess that's on the high, and I try to stay on the high end because I'm focused on muscle growth.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it seems to be all right. Maybe I could be growing more if I was.
But I tell people, you do also have to go off of how you feel, because some people don't feel good with a lot of protein. Maybe if they are a vegetarian, they eat a bunch of beans, they start to feel bloated from that. Or maybe if you are a meat eater and you eat a bunch of beef, you feel a lot of inflammation. So again, I say that's a range, but so many people aren't even getting 100 grams a day, which really you need that. You need more than that for everyone. So that's just one thing I encourage. And then I always obviously give ideas of how you can increase it, like making a smoothie every day and pouring egg whites in there, because you can't even taste it, and it's a way to just get protein, and it's not too high in calories. Or looking at protein powder, looking at the different how much protein is per scoop, and doing that. For most men, you can do 2 scoops, which is like 40 grams right there of protein post workout. Yeah.
Morning I do 1 meal a day, but within about a 4-hour window, maybe one at the beginning and one at the end.
Yeah, and honestly, that's great.
I wish I could do it just more naturally. I probably should do egg whites.
Yeah, egg whites is great. Pour it into your protein smoothie, and you can do it that way. And then like you can do egg whites and overnight oats. You can do egg whites and oatmeal. All of that. You know, egg whites is really a sneaky way to get it in there, and it's not too high in calories.
Other supplements? Do you take or recommend a pre-workout to get you jazzed up, ready to go?
You know, I used to take pre-workout every day, and I've come off of that. When I did Whole30, I just stopped trying to pump myself first thing in the morning. A lot of it was, I realized it was impacting my hormones. So I think pre-workout can be a great thing. I think it depends on the individual, what your goals are when you're taking it. You know, first thing in the morning for some people is not the best. I tell everyone they can benefit from taking magnesium. Magnesium is so fantastic for you. You really want to make sure you're getting a magnesium complex. So I take one that's on Amazon. It's 7 different types of magnesium, because magnesium, you know, each type of magnesium has a different benefit for you. So when you can do a complex, you're kind of hitting it all as far as cognitive function, helps with muscle cramps, helps with sleep, helps with keeping your bowels regular. There's so many benefits of it, but when you can get the complex, that's great. So I tell everybody magnesium. I tell everyone protein. Everyone has an opinion, everyone has a favorite one. I just say look at your ingredients, and you always want to try to, you know, stick with the shorter ingredient list. A lot of them have sucrose and artificial sweeteners, but you just have to go with what you're most comfortable with. And then creatine is just wonderful for men and for women. I feel like for so long we were intimidated, like, oh, creatine's going to bulk you up, creatine's, you know, going to do this, and it really has so much benefit for muscular recovery. For building lean muscle. It's just been very beneficial for men and for women.
What about brain function? I've heard it improves cognition.
They say that too, along with magnesium, which is why I say both. And then an omega fish oil is another thing that I tell everyone. It has just such benefit for everyone. So I think pre-workout can be great, but if I had to tell you my main, it would be the protein, the creatine, the magnesium, and then the omegas.
What about sodium? You're cutting out all the processed food, which is where we as Americans get most of our sodium. Are you adding that to your diet?
Yeah, I lied. I would do 5.
Okay.
So that is, I use Relight. You can buy it on Amazon in a tub, and I take it every day. And I tell my clients to take it every day. And it is a electrolyte mix.
Okay.
So many of us think, oh, I gotta wait until I, you know, deplete myself. And the reality is, water is so great for us and it keeps us hydrated, but it naturally depletes us of our body's natural electrolytes. So getting a tub of that, or any kind of electrolyte, really. I love that one because if you look at it, the sodium in there is much higher than most of the other drinks, and it's much more affordable because it comes in a tub. And especially for women, I've done so many podcasts that I've listened to talking about the importance of magnesium and electrolytes, because we need to be replenishing those every single day, because every single day you're depleting yourself just by drinking water. So I absolutely, that is the other one I have so many people on, is taking that. There was one other brand on Amazon that's a little cheaper, and I can't remember what it's called right now, that I was taking before, but the Relight actually has more sodium and more magnesium and a few other things that made me think it was a little bit better.
I take Element, which is 1,000 milligrams of sodium, that has magnesium and potassium, and it's made a huge difference on cognition, just the way I feel, my energy level, and I think it's because I was depleting myself.
And you don't realize it. Because you think, I'm drinking my water, I'm doing everything, but it can make your brain foggy. It can make you just not feel as well, like you feel less energized, things like that. And so I tell everybody, don't wait until you feel depleted. I tell everyone every morning, take a scoop of electrolytes, and I promise, I would say probably 60% of my clients are on an electrolyte supplement, and they can say that they can tell a big difference. A lot of mine have come off their pre-workouts because of the electrolytes.
I do take coffee. A lot of times I'll go into my workout, my weight workout, with a big iced coffee and just drink that throughout. I don't know if it makes a difference.
I mean, I could definitely tell a difference when I used to take my pre-workout. 100%. And when I came off of it, it was like, you know, it was very bad. I had terrible headaches for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
But now I'm just used to it. So,
yeah,
you know, I still drink caffeine. It was just that first thing in the morning on an empty stomach and everything that wasn't the best for me.
Yeah. Casey, it's so intimidating going to a gym. You don't know anybody. You don't know how to do the moves. How do we get more people into fitness, whether in the gym or in a program like yours, or just getting their heart rate up, getting their bodies moving? How do we sort of change the culture?
Well, I think first of all, we have to remind ourselves that you don't have to go to a gym, or you don't have to do a specific workout program. What's really important is that you move your body. And so you can move your body by taking a walk with your family. You can move your body by buying a bike and starting to ride it. So remembering first of all that you just need to move, even if it's jumping on the trampoline, you know, with your kids for 20 minutes. But when it comes to joining a gym, I think that finding the right fit is a big deal, because there are so many gyms out there and not every gym is necessarily going to be the right fit for you. So I love to go and look for places that for moms have childcare, because that's really great if you can find somewhere that has childcare, or if you can find a place that offers a trial where you can go in and try it out for a week or so and see what you think. Or maybe for some people, finding a place that offers family activities, you know. So again, I feel like a lot of us, you have to look and kind of do some research into what you're looking for, whether you're looking as a family, or if you're looking as a mom, or if you're just trying to find out, would weightlifting be best for you? Would a spin type place be best for you? Try different things out. Don't give up on, you know, if you don't love the first place. Keep an open mind, try out a few different things and see what works best for you, because everyone is different.
Yeah, I think I went from your gym not your gym, the gym where we met, to CrossFit, then over to another Hiit studio, and then I hurt my back doing CrossFit and went to yoga, and I think I've found my tribe there at yoga. Yeah. I love it gets your heart rate up. But not all of them, you mentioned a trial, not all of them offered a trial. No. It's like, if you want to do this, it's, you know, sometimes it's $50 a month. Most likely, if it's an instructor-led program, it's more like $130, $150 a month, and that's really difficult to do without some kind of trial. Let me see if I like it.
I agree. But I tell people all the time, at least commit to a month. Sometimes not having a trial can be a benefit because it locks you in. It locks you in for 30 days that you have to go. You know, some people are like, oh, well, I spent the money, I'm not going to go. But for most of us, if we're spending $130, it's like, dang it, I'm going to at least get my month in. Yeah. So it kind of forces you to go. It kind of forces you to get out of your comfort zone and, you know, give it a try. So I think that just encouraging yourself, number one, to find the motivation. You know, I had someone reach out to me yesterday who hasn't worked out in a really long time, and she wants to get back in shape, and she's like, do you think I can do your program? And I said, absolutely. But I think to start out, you need to start walking, because for everyone, there's that first step. And there's also that step of doing too much too soon. So that's why I tell everyone that your start was crux, but somebody else's start might be going for a walk every day for 20 minutes, you know what I mean? So you just have to find your motivation, find what it is that you want and what's your reality, and then you have to find something that you think will fit that. And if it doesn't, you go for the 30 days and then you try something else.
Yeah. Out of the box ways to stay motivated. And I think if you really love something, you don't need motivation, but getting started, it helps to motivate. And I really like that you would sometimes come by and look down at the weights and say, you can lift more than that. And that was really motivating for me. And then I also, my wife made me a t-shirt that said working on my six-pack, and it had 6 donuts. Yes. And I had that, and like I filled out the t-shirt because I was 40 pounds heavier, and now I wear it, and I still love that shirt. But it motivated me to look at myself in the mirror and be like, you either need to lose some weight or get a bigger t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I was not getting a bigger t-shirt. So that's sort of, I don't know, motivation by humiliation, whether myself or the instructor in a positive, friendly way. That worked for me. Are there any other sort of out of the box motivation that?
So what I tell people is, first of all, starting out, not necessarily this will even be motivating for you, but you have to take it seriously like a job. So you need to plan ahead and schedule ahead. I tell people, when you're first starting out, you need to pick what days you're going to the gym, what time you're going to the gym. You need to write it in your calendar. You need to set an alarm. You need to do those things. And then after you do that, I tell clients, you need to try each day to think about your why. Okay, so why are you doing this? When you don't feel like going to the gym, remember why did I even sign up for the gym? Oh, I signed up because I want to live a long, healthy life. I signed up because I want to fit into this dress. You think about your why and you let that be your motivation. But to get motivated, you have to give yourself structure and the environment to make it happen. So you have to lay your clothes out the night before. You have to pack a bag. If you're going after work, you got to pack a bag. I tell clients, if you need a pre-workout, some of them, I'd say put that junk beside your bed with a bottle of water. When your alarm goes off, sit off, drink that water, get that pre-workout, and get your butt out of bed. Okay?
Nice.
And you have your bag packed, you have your alarm set, you have everything prepared to make you successful. And once you start doing that, that's going to build motivation within yourself to keep going back.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you go back and you think about your why. But I also think hanging up your dress. If you have a dress you're trying to fit in, you hang it in. Or you grab a magic or the expo marker and you write on your mirror, suck it up. Or like you said, everyone's motivation is different. You love donuts. So seeing that motivated you so much. For some people, seeing a dress hanging up that they're trying to fit in, that's going to motivate them. But for all of us, if we set an alarm, if we we're setting ourselves up to be successful, we're laying our bag out, we're setting out our drink, we're doing it all, we have our workout ready to go, that's going to continue to build the motivation to keep you going.
Yeah. You have 3 beautiful daughters, and they're still young, but I know, because I know you and because we're friends on Facebook and I know you're active and you guys are always like camping and doing active stuff, and your husband's very athletic, running, and how do we spark this love of movement in our kids and so that they stay healthy?
Well, first of all, they learn from what they see. So first of all, we have to do those things, right?
Yeah.
So my kids, they actually get annoyed with me. They're like, are you working out again today? But the reality is, even though we might not see the benefit of that right now, when your kids see you doing something, that is resonating with them. That's something that they're going to know and realize, oh, I see Dad working out every day and he looks really good, or I see him with all this energy. How does he get that energy? So number one, we have to show them by example, lead by example, right? And then I always tell people, just get outside. Today there's so many screens, there's so many devices. Even for us, you know how it is. It's so tempting to look at your phone. So I really encourage families to go out, get bikes, go for a bike ride, get out, go for a run, go for a walk. And, my husband and I are very athletic. We work out all the time. And I'll tell you, they can be some of the biggest complainers in the whole world. We'll go on a 3-mile hike and you think that we've gone, for like 12 hours.
I've been there.
And again, you're like, what the heck? You're my kid. I made you. But the reality is, if we continue to lead by example and we continue to encourage them and get them out and get them about, it's good for all of us. And eventually, they're going to, catch on in their own way. They might necessarily not do it exactly the way we want, but the more we do that, the more they're going to see and learn from it. And that's the biggest thing I can say is lead by example.
That's huge. My kids can be so annoying because they'll come into my tiny little gym and I have little sandbags. I have big sandbags, fill them with little sandbags, and my 3-year-old will say, I need the sandbags, and she's like, I want to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I love that, and I just try to give her space. Sometimes I do get annoyed and say, okay, Now it's my time. But I try to encourage it, and I have my bands, and then they'll be fighting over the bands. But when there's just one of them down there, they'll say, I want to do sit-ups with you. And I'm like, come on, let's do it. Grab those, and I'll use this big, heavy sandbag, and you use those two little ones, and we'll both do curls. And that's fun. I feel like they should be moving more, but it's just a challenge.
It is. And I think we just have to remember to give our kids grace too. I think sometimes we get so wrapped up. I know I do, where I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to get outside more, you have to move more. But if we just encourage it and we do it with them, and then like you said, when they come in, I'm the same way. Mine like hang from those bars, like they're monkey bars, and
nice.
When I'm trying to teach a live class, and I'm like, if you don't get out right now, but you know, for the most part, like you said, if we can encourage them when they come in, let them work out with you, let them move with you, let them see you do it, let them participate with you, and then the more you encourage them and go with them, you know, that's time with your family, that's time that you're all outside getting fresh air and moving your body, and like I said, the more you all do it, the more fluid it will become. It's just like, you know, starting a journey of fitness as an individual. It's the same with your family. But with kids, you know, we have to give them a little grace too, because I feel like sometimes we can be hard on them because we're like, no, you're mine, like you should be doing this, and it will all, you know, come along, because like you said, yours are already coming in and wanting to do it with you. So obviously, even though you may not see a direct impact, you are making an impact. They're just not going to go out and, you know, run 3 miles with you yet.
Not yet.
Soon.
Yeah. I'm swimming laps at the pool, and they're learning to swim.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. I think we live like 1.6 miles from the elementary school. Is that too far for me to tell my kids, get on your bikes and let's go together?
No?
No?
I don't think that's too far at all. I'm just thinking about the road that it takes to get there.
Yeah.
That's what makes me nervous. But the greenway, like taking your kids out to the greenway.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I always would say, let's go do this. And then afterwards, you know, go get ice cream or make it fun for them. Give them motivation. I don't say bribe. You're motivating them. Okay, let's go do our bike ride, and then we can get lunch after and maybe get a, you know, King of Pops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this fantasy where my kids just go get on their bikes 30 minutes before school and ride there and lock it up. I don't even know if they have bike racks at the elementary school.
I don't think they do. I don't think.
They need them.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's too young.
Also, the hill up to the school is killer.
Yes.
So,
But there's a sidewalk. They
Yeah.
can walk their bikes.
Yeah, that's true. Little changes over time make a big impact, so don't put too much pressure on yourself. Nutrition is everything, but
Yeah.
again, start by cutting processed food, increasing your water, and moving your body, and find your people, whether that be at a yoga studio or online, or your people being your family. You know, you're at home and that's your motivation, those are your people. Find your people, find an environment that's going to encourage you and, you know, keep you accountable.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Finding your tribe and finding people who are encouraging, and, you know, if you're doing something wrong, rather than poke fun or laugh, they come over and say, hey, try it this way and see if you can feel it differently in the muscle. Yeah, and I think that's rare. I think most people just ignore it. They just go to the gym and they think about themselves only, and that's somewhat empowering also, because I know that I can go to the gym and nobody really cares about me.
Yeah.
I can make a fool of myself, or I saw somebody on Facebook this morning and he grabbed some little weights and just raised them over his head and went like this in the mirror, and people were looking at him. But you can really probably do that and nobody's going to care, because they're there for themselves, and so you can go and learn and make mistakes and make those little changes.
Right.
Which, you know, I think a good first step is getting moving, getting to the gym or getting out walking, move. And then you can think about, do I really want to eat this Oreo? And the answer is usually yes, I do, after I dip it in milk. But maybe I'll just have one instead of 10.
So it's a little change. Instead of eating 10 Oreos, you eat 1 Oreo. Because the reality is, most of us don't realize how crappy we feel until we start to feel good. And when you start to feel good, it's like, oh my goodness, I feel so good. I don't want to go back. And especially like you said, once you start working out, eventually you get to the point where you're like, this is really great, but I want more. You know,
Yeah.
just like with Roshawn telling you to track your food, and you're like, absolutely not. And then you realize, like, I'm not going to track my food, but I need to start paying attention to what I'm eating.
Yeah.
So it's one thing at a time, you know, and again, it doesn't have to be anything extreme. You can start with baby steps on both ends, and it's going to pay off big, because the more you show up for yourself, the more consistent you are, the bigger results you'll see at the end of the day. And it doesn't necessarily mean 100 pounds, but the better result you're going to feel physically, mentally, everything, because you start to become more confident, you start to feel better, you start to, your body moves better. So you just, it gets better.
Oh, that's been one of the best things, is just moving without pain. I used to get back pain. I would go to like Topgolf, and just the twisting, it would hurt my back, and I would go to physical therapy. I love physical therapists. I always learn new exercises. It seems like they always focus on the core. I don't know if it's just me, but since I've done physical therapy, I probably do core 5 or 6 days a week.
Because the reality is, it all comes from your core.
Yeah.
So if your core is not properly working, then everything else isn't going to properly work, because really that's why it's called core, right? So once you start to strengthen that, the better everything's going to be, and especially your back. If you have back issues, a lot of times it is related to your core, or your, you know, coming from your glutes up, you know.
Right.
I've been a PT too a few times.
Yeah. It may not even be your back. It could be the core, it could be your legs, your glutes. And the fact is, strengthening those things helps everything.
Absolutely.
You mentioned 100 pounds, and that I wanted to ask you. I have a neighbor. He wants to lose 100 pounds, and he wants to do it now.
Yeah.
And you know, I try not to be that guy. Be like, I've done it. I've got the recipe. Even though I feel like I should be an evangelist about it, like just going and telling the world. But the fact is, nobody wants to hear it until they're ready.
Yeah.
And then they only want to hear little, you know, they only want to hear what they want to hear. And I'm nothing bad against my friend. I was the same way, like Roshawn. Like, no way I'm not tracking my calories. And I probably lost 20 pounds just by cutting out processed foods and sugar. And then I plateaued. And I thought, okay, how can I take this to the next level? And my friend at the gym said, you got to track your calories. And I said, well, I've heard that before. So I started tracking my calories, and it was like another 20 pounds came off. Not immediately. It took several months, maybe close to a year. But I could see the difference every single week. There was a little bit of weight would come off. So I would go back up. But overall, it was a downward trend for until I stopped my calorie deficit.
Yeah.
And now I'm on a calorie surplus, and I'm putting weight back on, but I'm doing it in a way that I want to. So what would you tell my friend who wants to lose 100 pounds, and he's, I would say, sedentary lifestyle, has started lifting weights, but he's former military, so he knows what to do, but you know, he's maybe lost motivation. How do you
Same
start?
thing as we talked about. I would say get outside, start walking, start moving your body, and then I probably would say track your food. The reality is, for some people, you tell them to track their food and they're like, it's not happening, and they won't do it at all.
Right.
But that's where I tell people, okay, cut this out. Add water, cut out processed food. You know, one thing at a time. And it's like, once you start doing that, that's it. I tell people to set 2 to 3 week goals. So give yourself 2 to 3 weeks of walking 6 days a week. Once you do that, then you add on to it. Okay, now you're gonna, you know, walk for this long, and then you're gonna lift weights for 15 minutes after. One step at a time, because everyone wants a magic pill. Wouldn't it be so nice if we could just take this magic pill and it would all fall off? But like you said, the reality is you have to be really ready. It's like when you're gonna quit smoking. you can't make someone quit smoking. They have to be 100% ready, and it's the same with exercise and fitness. You have to take that leap. You have to make that step. No one can take it for you. So you have to decide that you're fully ready. Once you are, you have to come up with a game plan, even if it's walking and drinking a gallon of water a day, and then you have to go lead the way and then find what it is that's going to help you, or that be, whether that be a gym or a trainer or your neighbor who can encourage you. You know, I think that the biggest thing you can say is, okay, move your body and let's start changing our diet.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. Casey, thank you so much for
You're
talking
welcome.
with me.
Thanks for having me.
I think what you're doing is so good for the community. You obviously started by focusing on yourself, and once you got your own body, mind, spirit where you wanted it to be, you're able to help others. And now 62 members. I think that's amazing. I think probably we'll be talking in a year, 5 years, and it'll be 600, 6,000. Who knows?
I'm hoping. I just need to start marketing, right? So that's organic growth. That's with just word of mouth, and it's been a big blessing. And the thing for me is I never want to grow too big that I can't know each of my people and know a little bit about them, because as you know, I am hard on you when I know you could do it, but I genuinely care. It's a true passion of mine, and I always want it to feel that way. I always want it to feel organic, and I always want it to feel like you matter to me, because the reality is, you know, my people matter to me.
Yeah.
So, thank you though.
And you're so accessible. And I'm sure with 62, they can pick up the phone and text you or call you, and you'll pick up. With 6,000, that may not be the case.
Be a little different.
Is there anything you want to say to the world?
Well, thank you for having me. I just want to say, yes, you can. That's been my motto for 10 years. Yes, you can. You know, whatever it is, even if it's something small all the way to something big, I believe in you, and yes, you can.
I love that. Yes, you can. Casey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This
Appreciate
has
you,
been fun.
Chris. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. See, high five. Like the old days. Like the old days.
Just like the old days.